unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about helping you understand your buying decisions and making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder into your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We're going to educate, entertain, enlighten, and most importantly, we want to engage with you. So reach out to our hotline. We would love to talk to you. 813-670-7372. That's our Consumer Advocate hotline, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Give us a call on the hotline, or you can also hit the website, consumerqb.com. You can submit an email form there. You can see links to all of our expert contributors and our previous shows as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and also our iTunes podcast out there. So I want to give a shout out to Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. They do a great job cleaning all of our real estate properties, a lot of our real estate properties from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. But Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning, they're COVID-19 certified right here in Tampa Bay, a local company, a woman-owned company, minority-owned company. So please support our show partners by supporting Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. They're offering $15 off for your first cleaning. We got a great lineup for you here today on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We've got coming into studio in the second half of the show is attorney Richard Alexander. Attorney Richard Alexander always bringing in great information, updates to the laws, and kind of a good pace and a good feel for things happening in the legal space here in Tampa Bay. Coming up as well, Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance. I want to introduce Carla Armstrong as well, Director of Philanthropy with the Gulfside Healthcare Services.
Hi there.
Hey, Carla.
I'm really happy to be here, and just wanted to share a little bit about how the COVID-19 pandemic has been affecting us here at Gulfside Healthcare Services and the patients that we take care of, and then of course how that impacts the donations that are needed to make this care possible.
Very cool. I hear a virtual Halloween party is in the works as well.
Oh yes, we've got a lot of great fun ideas that you can do safely from your home.
Very cool. All right, good stuff. And we're going to kick off the show with Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, the insurance quarterback. Doug?
Brandon, always good to be here, and happy Tuesday to all the listeners out there. Hope everybody's doing well and enjoying some of the weather that's cooling off a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of things happening out there. There's so many, geopolitical, all the different stuff happening here domestically. But what we want to do with this show is kind of educate them and talk to them about things happening. A lot of business owners listening to the show, a lot of consumers as well. And you can help both. Yeah, and definitely want to highlight right now we're still in hurricane season, kind of hopefully things taming down a little bit. And God willing, hoping that we're clear for the rest of the year. But just updates to the listeners out there. Again, I know this is a show that has the heart to educate the consumer. I just checked this morning on some of the latest insurance updates. So between Hurricane Sally and Hurricane Laura, they are predicting about $15 billion worth of damage. Wow, so that is very, very significant. And what I can tell the consumers out there as well, now is a great time to do a protection review. Get your eyes on what you have for your homeowner's insurance. Don't be asleep at the wheel. I've been in this business 18 years. It is a great business, but we are seeing more drastic rate increases, Brandon, than we ever have before. Yeah. We're seeing rate increases anywhere from 10 to 40% for a lot of homeowners, and that is a shocking number, no doubt. Our agency has a very proactive process. We actually shop each year for our policyholders. So if you have not reviewed your insurance lately and you're a little bit asleep at the wheel, and all of a sudden you look at your monthly mortgage statement and you say, wait a minute, my mortgage went way up, it's likely because your escrow went up because your insurance went up. So listeners can reach out to us at TampaBayInsurance.com. And we're happy to do that protection review for them. And we actually offer a $27 gift card from Amazon just for that opportunity. Just for that opportunity. That's awesome. TampaBayInsurance.com. Yeah. Doug Levi here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And one of the things I take pride in having there for over 7 years now, helping a lot of people, is that we have not received any. I mean, it's zero. We're batting 1,000% negative complaints on anybody that's called in, reached out, any of our expert contributors, the folks that support this show and support the local economy. So Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, local expert when it comes to all things insurance here in Tampa Bay as well, Doug.
Yeah, and it's always good to be a part of a show like this, Brandon. I feel like we are doing something positive for the community. And the thing with insurance, it touches so many areas of people's lives, right? So I would venture a guess that most of the listeners out there have, whether it's auto or home or business insurance, likely one, if not all of those. And you want to get your eyes on your policy. You want to understand what you've got and what you don't have. And you want to understand what your costs are and what you're paying. And we just see so often, Brandon, again, can't reiterate it enough, we see so often where you may have taken out a homeowner's policy and maybe you got a referral at the beginning from a great realtor or a great mortgage contact. And that could have been years ago, and maybe you really don't even have much contact with your insurance agent at all. And you're just kind of trucking along, your renewal comes in, and again, if you're not being proactive, you really could be overpaying. And you've got to really understand this marketplace. Again, it's very dynamic. You got to understand who the best carriers and best options are, and it can vary based on your location of the water, the age of your home, the construction of your home, what claims you may have had, if you have dogs, what type of dogs. So there's lots at play there. We've got access to over 19 carriers. We really have all the major markets in the state of Florida, and we can help just about any consumer regardless of their situation.
Yeah, Doug Levi on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we always talk about that review. I think it's such an important thing to do annually, and you want to do that with your estate plan. You want to do that with your tax plan. You know, you can go back and look at these things and save money. There's literally found money there when you think about a review, especially with a lot of the changes we've talked about as well, the FEMA changes. And some people even recommend, even if you're not in the flood zone, aka, I'm doing air quotes here, the government sets those floodplains up and those zones up. So most people, when you ask, would you want government running any part of your life in terms of, the medical side, or the government can make mistakes and they're apt to. So some people say get flood insurance even if you're outside of the flood zone.
No doubt, and it's one of the things we recommend. And again, I'll tell people, just very transparent, I'm not saying because we make a ton of money on that. If we sell somebody a flood insurance policy, we maybe make $30-$40. I mean, that's just in straight honesty.
Yep.
But it's good protection for the consumer. The reality is approximately 30% of all floods occur in quote-unquote, and I'm using air quotes now, Brandon, quote-unquote, non-flood zones.
Yeah.
And, I joke, Florida is surrounded by water on three sides. We're flat as a pancake, and historically we face more hurricanes than any other state ever. So you kind of do the math. So to me, it's, hey, you know what? You skip Starbucks, which may be painful for a couple months. You just paid for your flood insurance for the year. Flood insurance in a preferred zone when you're not in a quote-unquote flood zone, you're maxing out between $400 to $500 a year, depending on what limits you choose. So definitely something we recommend. Protect your biggest asset. Understand, and the courts have upheld this time after time, and we've talked about this on the shows in the past, that a lot of times people will try and say, oh, well, my homeowners is going to cover me for my flood, and it will absolutely not. And,
right.
If you actually take the time to look at your homeowner's policy, and again, I realize most people don't. They're busy. They're doing, they're doing everything they can just to, get by through the day and take care of their families. But in big black letters, it will say flood insurance is not included, right? So, and the courts have absolutely upheld that. Even in cases of, well, hey, I'm right on the beach, and there, maybe there's some wind and maybe there's some flood, they've absolutely upheld that. So without having a separate flood policy, you really put yourself at risk. And the other thing that's important to know with that, there's a 30-day wait on it, right? You can't call me. You can. I'll be happy to take the call, a few days before Hurricane Sally or Hurricane Laura is ready to hit Florida and say, I want that flood insurance now. And guess what? We can do it, but it's going to have a 30-day wait on it. And the federal government, who runs flood insurance for the most part, does that on purpose because they don't want people doing it right before the storm. So again, the takeaway is, act now. I always tell our team when we do trainings, take action off of something that you've heard. And so I'd encourage our listeners out there, whether it's, my segment or any of the other segments, put some of this advice into play. Take action and help put yourself and your family in a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. 30-day wait on that. Wow, that's interesting. And Especially even
And
when the
that's been
storm's
for
in the
years.
box.
That's not a new thing. That's always been there. That's just a government. Again,
Yep.
they don't want the people piling up and saying, 2 days before the flood, they're just taking on a bunch of quote unquote bad risk. So they want they have at least a 30-day wait. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. And even when a flood is or a storm is in the box, aka the box they call it, the insurance cannot be bound. So then that closes the transaction until, or it stalls the transaction until you can get to a point where that they deem it okay to do that. We're talking with Doug Levi here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Strategic Insurance is his company, TampaBayInsurance.com. He's also got his insurance side hustle. Let's do a text review right now as well. If you want to get a review on your policies, he offers a $27 Amazon gift card as well, just for reaching out and giving him the pleasure of meeting you and getting to know you and talking about your potential insurance situation. What he'll do is a $27 Amazon gift card, but just text the word review to our hotline. We'll put you right in touch with Doug, like many others have. 813-750-0550. You can call or text 813-750-0550. That's our consumer advocate hotline number. Text line will get you right in touch. Just text review, and we'll have an insurance expert reach out. And Doug Levi and his team are awesome to work with.
Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, we appreciate it. Always happy to be on the show and help any of the consumers out there.
Yeah, man. We got about half a minute left or so. Can you talk a little bit about your insurance side hustle?
Yeah, would love to. So we have a platform we started about a year ago called InsuranceSideHustling.com, and it gives people an opportunity who want to earn some part-time income, and they can do home and auto insurance remote anywhere in the country. And our agency helps with marketing, support, service, infrastructure. We show you how to get licensed, how to get rolling. We kind of already said this is something that people need and already budgeting for, and you can then make a difference in other people's lives as well. Great opportunity to earn some additional income.
Very good. All right. Always a pleasure. Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance. Thanks so much, my friend.
Brandon, thanks. Always great being here.
Awesome. Good to hear from you. All right. Coming up, we've got Carla Armstrong. Don't go anywhere. Gulfside Healthcare Services here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk about the different pillars of their company and the fact that they are a nonprofit, how you can support them as well. They got a virtual Halloween party coming up as well. And later in the show, attorney Richard Alexander, one of our legal analysts, he joins us in studio. Attorney Richard Alexander from AlexanderLaw.com, TrustAlexanderLaw.com. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your Consumer Quarterback Show and the real estate quarterback here locally, and helping you win in your real estate deals. If you're buying, selling, or investing, we would love to talk to you. My wife Lindsay and I own and operate a top 1% ranked real estate team, 30,000 plus realtors in the greater Tampa Bay area, and we rank in the top 1%. Got a couple of hot listings here I want to let you know about. 8001 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a great opportunity. Any restaurant owners, any coffee shop owners, any entrepreneurs that want to have a very busy intersection. This is a corner lot, 2 commercial buildings, 4181 square feet combined, 33 parking spaces, 50,000 vehicles per day, busy corner, lighted intersection with a traffic light, and it's set up currently as a church in the back in one building, and the front building has a restaurant. It's known as Riverview Sandwich Shop, and it's listed around $800,000. Great opportunity right here in Tampa Bay for those investor-type folks, those entrepreneurs. We'd love to talk to you about it. 1010 Bay Esplanade is on North Clearwater Beach. This is a single-family home with a absolutely awesome third story overlooking you got a private sun deck, so you got a third story kind of an overlook from the tower up top. 3151 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage, private apartment, and private sun deck. 1010 Bay Esplanade, Clearwater Beach, right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, philanthropy is a big part of Tampa Bay, and Carla Armstrong is the director of philanthropy at Gulfside Healthcare Services, gulfside.org. And welcome back. Welcome to the show here, Carla.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited to share some information with your consumers.
Yeah. So we, over the months or so, years, we've had some guests on from Gulfside Healthcare talking about the incredible services that they offer and to people in the community. And it's something that's important to remember about Gulfside, that you are a nonprofit. What does that exactly mean?
Yeah, so what a nonprofit means is that as an organization, once we have, paid for everything, and if we have some money left over, in a for-profit company, that money goes to the shareholder. But in a not-for-profit, that money is reinvested back into the mission, and it really lets us help even more patients, more families, and provide higher quality care by reinvesting that in these programs and services.
Very good. So that impacts the patients in a great way. So people are constantly, your business is being reinvested in, whereas other companies, they may pull it out and give cash back to shareholders and make the other people wealthy, but this is making the clients, your customers, wealthy in a sense.
Well, and it really is filling a gap and a need in the community. I think nothing's been more apparent recently than the fact that we need health care, and it can be really challenging. And having an organization like Gulfside be here to help our patients who need us is really critically important, because one of the things that differentiates us as a non-profit is that we are here to care for patients regardless of their financial situation.
Yeah.
So we believe no one in need of care should ever be turned away because of their financial situation or a lack of insurance. And so the donations that we receive and the support we receive from the community allow us to care for these patients, even if they do not have insurance or they're not able to pay for it themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Carla Armstrong from Gulfside.org. Website is Gulfside.org. And when you look at the pandemic, it's really reshaped the way we're doing a lot of things. How has it affected Gulfside?
Well, it's had a pretty significant effect. Obviously, we have to be very careful to protect both our staff and our patients from the COVID-19 virus. And in doing so, that means it's costing a lot more to provide that, PPE that everybody's been talking about, and putting in place those precautions that allow us to still safely provide that care, because, they need the care. We can't just stop doing what we're doing. So, the expenses were obviously unexpected as it's hit many organizations. And so it's really increased the need for donations to help make sure that we don't turn anybody away because of an inability to pay.
So how are you still able to fundraise? I know it's hampered a lot of our other, folks that we've had on the show over the years. We've had, work done, charities and Children's Cancer Center, different Cons for Cons was just recently, Cons Helping Cons rather, and everybody's affected a little bit differently. How are you guys able to fundraise right now?
Well, as you can imagine, it's probably had the greatest impact on our events, being that we need to stay socially distanced and not meet in large groups. We have had to postpone several in-person events until later in the year. But you know what? With need comes creativity, and so we've actually created a couple of new events that are coming up where, people who want to support our care, hospice care and palliative care and home health care and our patients can do it from the safety of their home and the comfort, let's face it. So we've got a night in for hospice, which is going on now through the end of October. And the idea is that instead of, going out to the restaurant or the movie theaters that are kind of, a little bit trickier to go to, you can do a movie night at home. And the money that you would have saved from going out, you could donate and know that your night in is making a difference in helping hospice patients.
Yeah, and that's important as well. And when you think about Gulfside Healthcare, Gulfside.org, Gulfside Healthcare Services, the three pillars as well, we kind of went over those briefly, but hospice, that's an in-home, kind of known as the end of life. Is that right? Kind of the end of life care?
Yes. So hospice is care for someone who has a prognosis of 6 months or less. And it's not necessarily a place as much as we provide the care wherever the patient calls home.
Okay.
So that's where most people want to be cared for. But then we also have palliative care, which is for pain relief and symptom management of chronic illnesses. So these are illnesses that someone might have and they're not going away. So we work with that patient to customize a plan that really helps them create the best quality of life, so they can keep on living even with the illness. And then our newest business service line is Gulfside Home Health. And this is where we provide rehabilitative services for, wound therapy and occupational therapy and physical therapy, again, at their home. And I think that especially now, being able to provide that care to someone in the privacy of their home as opposed to having to go to a rehabilitation center where they're more at risk has become really important.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Support Gulfside.org, Gulfside.org. We're talking with Carla Armstrong here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So other ways to get involved, Veterans Day donations to help veterans, hospice patients. We love our veterans around here.
We do. And, a lot of people don't realize that 25% of all of our patients are veterans.
Wow.
And so we have a wonderful program that we're a part of called the We Honor Veterans. It's a national program that we're proud to be a partner of. And it really helps these veterans and their families address the unique needs that veterans face when they approach the end of life. And one of the most important things we do is recognizing their service. There are many veterans who still have not been thanked for their service, in particular our Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
And so this program really takes the time. And I can tell you, we have a pinning ceremony for these veterans in recognition of their service, and it's a deeply moving ceremony for the patient and for the family. And it's a wonderful way for people, if you're really passionate about helping our veterans, help these veterans at the end of life. They can do that by donating to Gulfside.
Very good. And then lastly, let's talk about, some people may not have monetary donations. Money's tight maybe for them, but you can be a volunteer. The thrift shop that you have multiple thrift shops, you can volunteer for the thrift shop.
Yeah, absolutely. I say there's always three ways to give: time, talent, and treasure. And time and talent are great ways to help us as volunteers. We always need volunteers at our thrift shops. Right now, we've sort of suspended the patient care volunteers just for safety reasons, but we are looking to hopefully be able to do that in the near future. And we spoke of veterans. One of those volunteer programs is a veteran-to-veteran program as well. So we would love to see anybody who's able to help in whatever way they can.
Excellent. Great stuff, Carla. Thanks so much for joining us. Check them out online, Gulfside.org, or also Facebook.com/Gulfside Healthcare Services. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Coming up, all-female firefighter crew makes history in Florida, and we have attorney Richard Alexander in studio as well. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Carla, thank you so much for your time. Alrighty, bye-bye. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
I'm big head out of the way.
I know, because you're in the foreground, so yeah, it makes you look bigger.
Actually, let me see if I can move it up a little bit there. That's pretty cool, though. I love that.
Wow.
Richard, can you hear me?
Man, it looks like a cockpit.
Can you put your phones on there?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Everybody just needs to get a mic check from me, buddy. There we go. Consumer Quarterback Show.
How you doing? Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Sounds great. Thank you, Richard.
Good? Okay.
Supreme Court nominee. Do you want to talk about that, or what did you have in mind?
Actually, laws go into effect in 48 hours. New laws.
New laws. Okay.
And there are also 3 amendments on the ballot, which I'd like to talk about because you know how I am about.
Absolutely.
If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to raise your taxes on yourself twice.
Raise taxes. That's exactly what we don't need.
Hillsborough County did it. Raised taxes themselves twice in one ballot.
Jeez.
Yep. The 1 penny and the half penny.
Yep.
Oh, it's only a penny, though.
Yeah.
Is that how they say it? I mean, is that what they think in their mind? You know.
Well,
anyways.
Yeah, it was, one was for the school district, which was, I have no problem with, but then we did it to just regular sales tax, and yeah.
That's just what we need, more taxes.
Well, as expected, the school district already overspent themselves.
Johnny, can you hear me? Are we good? Alrighty, everybody please stand by. Stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Got a hot listing, 6128 Oak Ridge Avenue in Port Richey, Newport Richey. I want to let you know about. This is a waterfront beauty. The owners say they are looking for offers. They want to sell this property. It's over an acre, right at an acre, 4,100 plus square feet, 4 bedrooms, 4 bath, waterfront home with bay access right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 6128 Oak Ridge Avenue in Tampa Bay. Great opportunity to own waterfront property in Tampa Bay. And also, we got a property out in Riverview. Now, this one's 13204 Fawn Lily Drive. Gorgeous home. This is a beautiful property. Great opportunity to own real estate out in East Hillsborough. 4,500 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 5 bath, 3-car garage, resort-style amenities, covered and screened lanai. Beautiful property, waterfront as well. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And this segment is brought to you by the Golf Cart Depot of Tampa Bay, a.k.a. Discovery Golf Cars as well. Longtime friends of the program. They've got a great opportunity for you. They will deliver to you so you can test drive. Discovery Golf Cars, Tampa, Clearwater location, discoverygolfcars.com, also golfcartdepot.com. And they are an awesome sponsor of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We love our golf cart getting out there, enjoying for personal or also commercial use as well, doing door knocking out there in the community and other applications. Check out them. Check out Golf Cart Depot online. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, we got our friend attorney Richard Alexander. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Brandon. Always love being here, man. So.
Yeah, man. New rules. I need a button for that. New rules or new laws.
Yeah, new laws go into effect in 48 hours, October 1st, 2020.
So new laws coming into effect. And we were talking earlier, we voted in Hillsborough County, that is, 2 times to raise our own taxes.
On the same ballot.
On the same ballot.
That's pretty impressive, yeah.
And they kind of disguise it or dress it like, oh, it's just a half a penny tax or half a penny here. Sales tax, right?
That's a good point because a lot of times they try to disguise or change the language so you think you know what you're voting for, either against or for approving it.
Yep.
But it turns out that you actually vote the opposite of what you wanted, and that's because the chicanery that they do with the wording of the amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they just don't write it. I mean, I think I know why, but I don't know why they just don't write it in just plain language that an average high schooler can understand.
And I thought mostly we were supposed to write to 8th grade levels. They say that a newspaper's written
a
that
newspaper,
way.
Correct? Yes.
Yeah. But hey, so what are these new laws? What do we need to know?
Well, I think the most important one has to do with veterans. And do you know about false valor, or when someone pretends to be a member of the military, they claim to be a veteran? Well, Florida says, we're going to stop that. Ooh. And the governor just signed into a law that anyone using false valor or claiming to be a veteran, and you've seen them. I actually get offended by that, where they wear the uniform or they wear the medals, any ribbons that they wear,
or even a hat,
the stripes, all that, and they use that to their advantage to either get benefits or to get inside or to do a lot of different things.
Is it panhandling too? Just like on the corners, panhandling and stuff like that?
I don't know if that would fit under the statute, but it's when you actually intentionally, consciously hold yourself out as a veteran.
Wow.
And they're going to make it a 3rd-degree felony to do that, which is insanely serious.
Punishable by?
Well, a felony is punishable up to 5 years in the state of Florida. I mean, I doubt anybody's going to get that. It would depend on
that would have to be very
gravity.
Egregious.
Yeah, it would depend on how serious it was. But to make it a felony just goes to show how Florida feels about its veterans and what's happened to people that have actually lied about being a veteran.
Well, right on for the governor and the lawmakers to passing that. So the false valor, I've seen some different documentaries where people get called out, and you see the guy get out of his car, he pulls over. It goes, I remember the one video, he called them out and asked them, what thing were you in, what specific, asking them specifics. The guy had no clue.
That's right, and that's, again, you bring up another good point, because who always calls them out on it is other veterans.
Yeah.
Because they know exactly if you've been there, if you've done that, if they can just trip you up something very easily. Like, what company were you in,
Yeah, exactly.
And they know.
Yeah.
There's a judge in Hillsborough County, Michael Scianti. He was over in Iraq during remember Abu Ghraib during the Bush administration.
Vaguely,
it was the pictures came out that some of the military personnel that were guarding some Iraqi prisoners just really took some liberty with them.
Yes.
Well, he was one of the prosecutors when he was an officer, assigned to that particular incident. And he called out a veteran in veteran court saying, where were you? What company were you with? Or who's your commanding officer?
Mm-hmm.
And he grilled him about it. And finally he says, I don't think you were there. I don't think you ever had anything to do with. And I went, whoa.
Wow. Well, good for him for being smart, astute,
right,
calling people out.
And it's what you and I just talked about. It's always the veterans that are up to it. Yeah, they know.
Exactly. We're talking with attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's one of our legal analysts, talking a lot about the different laws that have changed or new implementations. So the Veterans Law, what's next on your list there, Richard?
Also, there's a Veterans Protection Act now as well. So 2 laws that are going to go into effect in 48 hours having to deal with, what was happening is that they were calling on veterans that were either suffering from some mental infirmity or PTSD, and they were trying to take advantage of them. And so from now on, I want to read this to be clear. It's a 1st-degree felony to obstruct or attempt to swindle $50,000 or more from 10 or more veterans.
Wow.
So again, the reason this is a law is because this has been a problem.
Yep.
And to make it a felony just goes to show how serious the state of Florida is about its veterans.
Absolutely. Want to get you to weigh in, and if you know any updates, but the big thing in the news this past week was Bloomberg paying for some of the potential voters and largely leaning Democrat, I guess, and the voting rights were given back, but you have to pay your restitution. You have to pay your court dues. If you ran into somebody's house and busted up their wall, of course you should pay for their personal property destruction, those types of things. Have you heard anything updated on that lately?
Well, let me touch on that, because a lot of people are not aware that any type of restitution or court costs or fines, they're part of your probation.
Right.
Okay, so you don't satisfy probation until you've actually paid restitution or made a good faith effort or paid the fines and court costs. So I think that's part of any sentence. And I think the Florida Attorney General, Ashley Moody, she's actually looking into this because she thinks Bloomberg might have, violated the law.
Yeah.
Because you can't give anything to anybody to entice that person's vote.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're doing. So
it's basically bribery. I mean, you're saying, hey, here's something for this. It's
correct.
It's an exchange of, it's so anyways, moving on, we've talked about do you have any updates on that Twitter guy, the Twitter kid that got busted?
No, I don't have any updates on it. I think it's been, again, COVID is not helping on this, obviously, but they're not having in-person hearings.
Yeah.
So, and everything just keeps getting continued either by Zoom or by paper document.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't lend itself well to find out what's going on.
That kid's going to be in trouble, though. I mean,
he is in trouble.
Yeah, when he gets his sentence, it's going to be a pretty harsh one, I would think, because they got to hold him accountable, and they're going to hold that inside person accountable at Twitter to set an example.
I hope it's not as bad as I think it's going to be, because at the end of the day, he is a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was 17 when he was arrested, so I just hope it's not as bad as I think it's going to be.
Yeah, it definitely needs to. They need to be able to, rehab themselves. Rehabilitate. Right. If there's something where he serves a certain amount of time, and then he commits his his life or the next X amount of years to fighting against that, or somehow flipping a negative positive.
Right.
I feel like since I had cons helping cons on this show, we talked about the 77% of prisoners that are let out they have a recidivism rate. They call it 77%. So we got to do something. We got to have some kind of change here to where we can help with education, training, even some kind of a trade school. Let's teach these kids how to be electricians, plumbers, whatever specialty they might want to be interested in. There's got to be something for that.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because a lot of times I have to go see clients in jail because that's their temporary address, and they all like, I don't care what you do, just get me out. You got to get me out. You got to get me out.
Yeah.
And like you said, the recidivism rate is 70-80%, but everybody wants to get out.
Yeah.
And yet there's an incredibly high percentage of people who go back in.
Because what happens, I believe, it turns into somewhat of a treadmill effect. You come out, you hang with the same people. If you come out, you don't have friends to support you, or maybe people are down, and then a large percentage, I bet, are involved with drugs or some kind of addiction, alcohol addiction. And then to try to get a job or try to get housing is kind of stacked against you as well. Just the simple housing.
I think you nailed it when you said that you go back to that environment.
Yeah,
and that's it's nasty. It's a vicious circle.
Yeah, and it really takes special character. It takes someone like a Captain Will Smith. We're making a movie together.
Right.
We're actually that's progressing very well right now. Falling from the Sky is the working title, but he was wrongfully convicted, went in, served. He's a pilot, and the whole story, he actually came out and got a judge thrown off the bench in North Carolina. I mean, it's just an amazing story. But to have that drive and that character, and look what he's done now. He's a pilot. Not many people have that work ethic or that drive, or can overcome those odds.
Yeah, I read a lot about how people just, they come to a point where they just feel they hit rock bottom, and there's nowhere for them to go but up.
Yeah.
And they make a conscious decision, like you just said, that, what, I'm tired of being me. I need to make a change.
That's right. Yeah, and many of them get into the church. They start doing the 12-step program, forgiving people, letting go of the past. Those are the big parts that you find with people that are able to overcome the adversity, move forward, and just remember too, it's a small step. It's a small step. It's small improvements, even in business, even flipping it to a business perspective. If I can get better this month than I was last month, or last week than last week, if I can constantly innovate and add, we're excited about our wide angle camera. We got a wide angle camera in the studio now. I mean, that's a step in the right direction. It's those small little wins, and I think you got to celebrate those small wins.
No question about it. And I think one of the most interesting things is that the irony is, the jails are an insanely structured institution. What time you get up, what time you go to bed, what time you eat. It's all of it is structured. You have to, quote unquote, raise your hand to go anywhere, to do anything.
Yep.
And yet when you're removed from that is when you lose structure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just it's nasty, man. It's a crazy circle.
Yep. So when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about some of the new laws, things happening. We got votes coming up as well. Let's talk about voting and some of that kind of affecting local people here in Tampa Bay. And we have our feel-good story of the day as well. An all-female firefighter crew makes history in Florida. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253.
Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. When we talk about any marketplace, we talk about, helping you win a lot. We have the fun buttons that go along with that. We want to help you understand your buying decisions, all these different areas. So we have over 80 different categories, 50-plus show partners and expert contributors and legal analysts on the show where we talk about real estate, credit, finance, estate, and tax planning. So many ways that we can help you, but it's up to you to engage. So if you'd like to call in, any questions that you have, we welcome that. We want to give you the advice and help you win in any marketplace. 813-750-0550. Call or text that line anytime. Any questions, comments, 813-750-0550. I want to hear from you and our radio family out there. We greatly appreciate you hanging out with us here. Every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, we got an all-female firefighter crew makes history in Florida. It's actually out of Palm Beach Gardens, kind of close to where I'm from. I'm from that LaBelle area, close to Clewiston, close to Belglade, and right over towards West Palm Beach. You got Palm Beach Gardens there, and they made history. It's a fire station. 65 was manned by a shift made up of all women for the first time in the history of the department since it was founded in 1963. So that's pretty cool. Rescue Lieutenants Christina Krakowski, Kelsey Kriswanda, firefighter paramedic Julie Dudley, Captain Monica Marzullo, and engineer driver Sandy Ladowski of the Fire Rescue in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, posted in a recent post getting lots of love on social media. We made history, she says on Facebook posts. It's the first time in a department that had an all-female crew. Beyond empowering to stand alongside these strong women, not only is it awesome to work with these ladies, and it's a special day. They had a word there I'm not sure if I can say on the show, so I was gonna, but all female fire crew makes history in Florida. Richard, what do you say about that?
I'm all about history. I majored in history, so
that's right. Speaking of history, I just reading an awesome book right now. It's by Ben Shapiro, How to Destroy America in 3 Steps.
We're probably at step 3 right about now.
We are in the third trimester, I believe. Yeah. So a great book, Ben Shapiro. Love that guy. By the way, Salem's got an event coming up on the 23rd. I'm going down to see Charlie Kirk. Got my tickets already. I got my tickets. Charlie Kirk.
He's a kid.
Sebastian Gorka, young guy.
Yeah, really young guy.
Yeah, and he's very knowledgeable. Sebastian Gorka, awesome attorney. And who else was it? Phil Grande and Larry Elder. Larry Elder, you'll see him on Fox News a lot.
Very
but they got an event coming up down in Sarasota on the 23rd. I'm going to go to that. Let me thank our sponsor for this segment, the Bilmar Beach Resort. Guys, if you haven't checked out the Bilmar Beach Resort, you got to go check them out. They're right on the beach, Treasure Island, beautiful beach, 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and you owe it to yourself. You owe yourself a local staycation if you're here locally. If you're out of the area, definitely take my advice. Check him out. Give Clyde Smith, he's the general manager, give him a call and let him know the real estate quarterback sent you and take him up on those special offers and incentives. So, new laws. Anything else happening in terms of new laws, or we got a voting coming up too? We got some votes.
One of my favorite new laws is, Brandon, let me ask you, how many specialty plates do you think Florida has?
Specialty what?
Plates, license plates.
Oh, man. I've seen a bunch, but let's guess 48.
All right, 123.
Okay.
And what I love about this is law enforcement has been complaining to Tallahassee for years that there are too many plates.
Yeah.
Because it makes it more difficult for them to, determine what the plate was, the background of the plate.
Yeah.
So Florida said, all right, we heard you loud and clear, so we're going to make it now 150. Right? And now they're going to have...
Hang on, I got a button for that.
Come on, man.
Yeah. And here's the best part, because this is where they're going to open the Pandora's box, okay?
Oh,
now you can get plates for Auburn, University of Alabama, and there was one other
That's
state.
just going to cause confusion. I mean, that's crazy. Georgia, there's going to be some Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh, Georgia's the other one. And
Yeah.
So you're going to you can get a Florida plate, right, promoting out-of-state universities.
Ridiculous.
You know what's going to happen. Why stop there?
Oh, I can
Right?
just see it. Yeah.
So law enforcement was heard loud and clear. I'm going to put that in quotes.
Yeah.
And they're going to make 17 more, it's 27 more plates.
Slippery slope. That's what happens.
That's
It's a slippery
exactly what
slope.
happens.
And I've even heard too, just those little outlet, the car dealerships love to put, either like I got my Mercedes Tampa Bay, they put that on the outside of the plate. I heard that's illegal to even have that on your plate. It covers up your
that's
plate.
correct. There's a statute right on point that says you can't disguise, or every part of the plate has to be legible.
Yeah.
And that's true. If you cover the county or some part of it, yes, you can be pulled over.
Yeah. So just the way they can pull you over.
Well, it's funny because there's a case on point on that issue, and the judge that issued the opinion said, we understand that car dealerships issue plates, vanity brackets promoting the car dealership's business.
Yep.
But ultimately, the consumer is in charge of their motor vehicle, so they need to know that they can't have a bracket that disguises or makes any part of the plate illegible.
Yep. Okay, so we got attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. TrustAlexanderLaw.com. Longtime friend of the program. Always have a great, fun conversation. Let me ask you about negotiation. I love negotiation. I teach negotiation at different the realtor boards, and even with Keller Williams, I teach seller classes, how to work with sellers, how to win with sellers. And you think about negotiation. How much negotiation happens in the legal profession?
Oh my God, it's every client.
It's the client. It's the opposing counsel. It's the you're negotiating all over the place, aren't you?
I always look at it as buying a motor vehicle, a car.
Yeah.
Because both the dealership and the consumer have to feel they got a deal.
Yeah.
But so they got to feel like, well, you know what? I could have got more, but I'm satisfied with what I have. And
Yeah.
I think every case comes down to that. The client has to be able to say, okay, I'm not happy with it, but I'll take it.
Win-win.
And the other side has to say the same thing. Okay, I'm not happy with it, but I think every
Yeah.
negotiated deal has to be like that.
Yeah, it's a win-win, and that's one of the Keller Williams values is think win-win, or it's got to be win-win or no deal, because it can't be a win-lose. If somebody loses, it's going to come back to you later. It's just going to be that negative karma thing. But I've got 4 tips to remember when negotiating as if your deal depended on it. And a lot of my thinking comes from Chris Voss, hostage negotiator, very famous now.
Very.
He was on the show a while back. One thing I talk about is creating harmony. Instead of having that antagonistic, oh, that's the other side, I'm going to, like a football game, you're going to go out and play ball or compete against someone. Yeah, you're competing, but it's still, it's a dance. It's more of a dance. It's more of a, chess match, right? You can't go into it with the negative. So I always say the smiling effect, studies show that you're 31% smarter when you smile. Right, studies show.
Okay.
And then you have the neuroresonance when you're able to look people in the face. I love the radio show when we're talking and looking in the eyes. You have that neuroresonance. You can pick up certain things, body language clues. But what also happens is you're going to have them reciprocate your attitude,
right.
and you're going to be that much easier to come to an agreement. You're more efficiently with less obstacles. So number one, I always say start off with creating harmony. Entering negotiations in a positive attitude.
Well, I like to listen to Jordan Belfort's podcast.
Yep.
And he always talks about when you're trying to sell something to somebody, he says you need to make it very personal. He says you need to find out a lot about what this person is, who he is.
Yes.
And then you can talk about selling as a secondary or third option.
Okay.
So, but at that point, he says that's when you make the sale.
That's number 3 on my list. Powerful questions, open-ended questions. So empathetic, probing questions, basically making sure that you understand where they're coming from. Why do you want to sell now? What's your goal? What's your outcome?
Correct. That's what he talked about.
Yeah, so the powerful questions and those open-ended questions many times is going to come back and it's going to lead you right to where you wanted to go anyways. And then also number 2, I have emphatic listening. That's part of that as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
The late and great Stephen Covey, his 7 Habits, he says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So listening, and a big caveat is not with the intent to reply, but just pure listening.
Right. And actually, you made comments about some of the things I post on Facebook or social media where the attorney's not listening to the question.
Yeah.
You know, he says, well, how long have you been married? I'm not married. And what's your wife's name? I'm not married. You know, you know, because they're not listening to the answer. They just want to ask the next question.
Yeah, exactly. And for those in sales, you know, how many times have you pitched the wrong party? You know, you're talking to the right to this person, but they don't actually own the property or this and that. Right. So that would be, you know, one of my other tips, the 4th tip. But yeah, I've got about a minute left. Richard, parting words of wisdom.
We got a couple amendments coming up in the this ballot in November. What they do is, you know, you get to vote in the presidential election, and we're voting for every congressman in the United States, 435 members. Everybody's seat is up for grabs. But there are also amendments on the ballot. Please read them before you go into the voting booth.
Yeah.
Because they're not written so that we can understand them. They're just written, you know, they're written in legalese, but please read them. Know what you're voting for.
It's important.
Absolutely. It's critically important. Just know exactly what the amendment says.
Yeah, absolutely. Be a smart voter. Go in there. A lot of times if you request it, you can read it at home, then bring it in, drop it off. There's a lot of ways that you can do it. Attorney Richard Alexander, trustalexanderlaw.com. And we always end our show by saying we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.